This is my first time actually live, in the live person, listening to, well, going to be at start at 2 o'clock, live in person, author speaking or talk. Let's see what the experience is like. I want to know. Now, as always, enjoy it. Let's see you guys.
Rockville Memorial Chapter, and I want to welcome you to the library. I'm very curious to know, those of you who aren't associated with the Friends of the Library, how did you hear about the event today for the author talk?
I saw like a poster of like calendar, and I read lots of books, so I'm interested in the author talk, and I did a lot of research on it.
Excellent. How did you hear about it?
I happened to walk by and I saw the sign.
Oh, that's
But
good.
I read your book, and I now am a volunteer at the center. So I wanted to hear you speak.
Wonderful.
I saw a poster outside, and I'm studying to be a social worker, so I thought it'd be
Oh.
Very good.
I looked at the calendar of events on the library's homepage.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that some of our publicity is working. The signs work. That's good to know. I met Rob at the Gaithersburg Book Festival in the spring. I heard him speak, and I was so inspired and moved by his presentation, and I knew that we just had to have him come, so thank you so much. Since then, I found out that in June, just 1 month later, the National Council for Adoption presented Rob with an award, the Warren and Mary Alice Babineaux Award, in recognition of his continued commitment to creating positive change in the lives of children in foster care who need permanent families. I want to read to you what the CEO of the National Council for Adoption said about Rob at the time. In just 5 years, it is incredible to see the impact that Rob and his team have had, including the outpouring of compassion from thousands of volunteers and Comfort Case ambassadors across the country who pack bags and deliver them in their communities. Rob serves as an example that everyone can do something to help children in foster care, whether it's the life-changing commitment of adopting a child or something as seemingly small as donating blankets and bags. And I want to say also that even though we're very lucky that Comfort Case is in Rockville and Rob is local to our library, that he is known nationally. He has been a speaker at the Today Show, the Ellen Show.
Yeah.
He's appeared on Upworthy, and I understand over 130 million views on his viral video. So we're very lucky to have Rob here today. Please help me welcome Rob Scheer.
For my unbelievable kids, my husband Reese, we have 3 goats, and we have 27 chickens, and we have a pig named Penelope. We have a cat and 3 dogs, but what we have is we have a family that's so enriched with love. I look at my kids' face every single day, and I think to them, they make me a better human. They make me a better human. And I guarantee you, if those of you, who's read my book so far? So, okay, perfect. So my story didn't start out like most kids. I'm the youngest of 10 kids. My mother had been married 6 times. We lived in and out of every shelter in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. And life was really hard. And when I was 12 years old, my parents, they died. And it was actually a gift because they were very abusive. Life was very hard. I don't remember my mother ever hugging me or saying, "You matter," or "I love you." And when I was 12, I was pretty excited that I was going into what you all call foster care. For me, it was something that I thought families, they would love you because they brought you into your home. And I remember that very first night that I walked up the driveway carrying a trash bag, all my belongings in it, walked into the front door. I remember as she pulled the clothes out and she says to her husband, he doesn't even have anything decent to wear to church the next for tomorrow, and he needs to get in the shower. As I wasn't even there, if you looked and I was invisible, and that's the problem that we have here in our country. For so many times, we don't realize that right now we have 438,000 children who are in the foster care system in the United States. The saddest part that I actually get to see is that it's not up here, but that 28,000 has just increased to 30,000. So this year, in 2019, we will have 30,000 kids age out of the system. The saddest part is that 70% of them, they'll be homeless within 2 years. Well, that happened to me. I turned 18 the fall of my senior year of high school, 1984. I will never forget it. I was pretty excited because I had actually made it to 18 and I was a senior in high school. Nobody in my family had ever done that. My brothers and sisters had already fallen to the wayside, most of them. They were either incarcerated, or they were drug addicted, or they were already pregnant. It was that cycle that we see in the system over and over again. The numbers tell us 2 out of 3 kids in foster care will be dead or in jail. 2 out of 3. The fact that those numbers even say that tells us that we have already gone down a slope, that we are not achieving the goals that we should for these kids. Of my then family, and I was given my trash bag. And I was told the check doesn't come anymore, so you can't live here. And I became a homeless kid. I remember that first night living on the streets. It was a moment, a crossroad in my life that I had said, okay, you all had given up on me. My community didn't even care about me. I was invisible and disposable, but I hadn't given up on myself. And I remember going over, and the craziest thing is to be here, and I write about this in my book, the public library. The public library. This was my safe place. This was a place that the doors would open up in the morning, and when school wasn't there, I could go into the library. And I could sit and grab a book, and no one would bother me. They would let me sit there all day. 9 o'clock would roll around and the library would close, and the librarian would come over and she would tap me on my shoulder and she would say, we're closing. And I would go outside and I would gather my trash bag that was hidden behind a bush, and I would go try to find somewhere to sleep. I had a $3.35 an hour job at the local taco place. That was what minimum wage was back then, and they were nice. It was a million moms. Okay, so it was a million moms, which I loved them. I would hug them. Every chance I get, whether I was sitting on the couch with Ellen or article, did they say anything about the fact that she had 2 dads? It just was a picture. Well, that picture made these million moms, which, oh, by the way, there's only 80 of them, I think, made them to do this boycott. Well, it gave us all the press we wanted. So if you follow us on any social media, sometimes you'll see me with little 2-year-olds that are packing cases. And we have no age requirement whatsoever. What we do require is that kids who are under the age of 16 have to have supervision. We're not babysitting service.
Johnny, nice to meet you,
Rob
Rob.
Scheer.
When I watch your video on YouTube, it really motivates me. People who are on my YouTube channel know what it's like to be homeless. Can you tell me about your how you were low self-esteem? Nobody think that you matter.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I was just floundering as a young boy. The worst self-esteem. I felt like I was one of those kids that just went, when people looked at them, they saw through me. I was, invisible, disposable. And when I came 18, I became homeless. And that was the hardest thing in the world. I mean, people don't realize how people don't want to be homeless. And the fact is that homelessness is something that we must realize that we can prevent. We truly can prevent. And for me, it was the hardest. I was homeless for about 9 months, and it was so hard to find.
But you're saying it was hell.
It was hell.
Because people say that there's no hell and you cannot.
Let me tell you, I was in hell and came back. It was hell.
Right, but you came back again. But the thing is, when you tell the story, you progress as this. Because I saw you as you speak, you have confidence.
Yeah.
Can you tell people who are homeless that there are hope at the end of it?
There is hope. I will tell you. The fact is that at your hardest of hard days, there is hope at the end. The fact is you almost realize that life is about a lot of choices. And sometimes the easy choice is not always the best choice. And sometimes the hard choice is really hard. But you have the ability to take the power. You know, I say this all the time. People have the ability to take the power. The power is hard to grasp, but you can do it. You got to dig down there and what I call get the grit. Get that grit and show people that you can do it. And by the way, show yourself. That's the first thing you can do. Show yourself. You know, that's who you should make happy and try to please in the beginning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. For public speaking, because I want to become a public speaker.
Okay.
How? Because I saw you staring at me, because I can't even do that. But
Yeah.
every time I tell the story,
Yeah.
I can't look. How do you develop that public speaking skill and story? So,
Okay, so I have to tell you that I find it funny when people say that I'm a public speaker because I was a banker for 25 years.
Right.
I've never had any training as a public speaker. I think a lot of it comes naturally, but I think a lot of it also has to do with telling your story. The more times you tell your story, the better you are. But I've just been really I was filming a TV show yesterday and the person said to me, "You have the gift." And I said, "What's the gift?" They said, "You have the soundbite gift." And they said, and I was like, "Seriously?" And again, I'm a guy who sat behind a desk pushing numbers. I would never thought I would stand. And I just got back this week from giving a speech at Facebook up in New York City, speaking in front of thousands of people. Do I get nervous? Better believe it. And if the nerves stop, then I need to stop doing what I'm doing. Okay?
Okay. So what is the comfort case? Because I want to do...
So the comfort cases, comfort cases are to give hope and dignity to our youth that are in foster care, so we don't give them trash bags anymore. So what we do is in our Rockville, Maryland location, comfort cases, you can go to comfortcases.org and read all about us, but we pack cases and ship them all over the country so social workers don't have to give a trash bag.
What does success look like to you? Because you talk about...
Success to me is the fact that my children are happy, that my husband is happy, and that we have no longer allowed trash bags to be used with kids. You know, it's kind of crazy to me. So in Montgomery County, here in our county, we have banned plastic bags.
Right.
Okay? And we can't even ban trash bags for kids. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. There's places you ban plastic straws, but we allow a child to carry a plastic trash bag. So if the environment is so harmed by a plastic bag, do we not think that our humans are harmed, that our children are harmed by a plastic bag? Think about the psychological damage that we're doing. Nobody's ever thought about that. Listen, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have to get going.
Yeah. That talk was very touching, and I learned a lot from that. And I learned a lot, but what did you learn? Well, I learned that when the author talked about community, he's talking about the human race. He wants the human race to help each other, not always fight against each other. This guy, he's been on TED Talks and Ellen, now he's like, he said, movie or documentary. His book is turned into a movie or something, I don't know. But his book, or he said he was working with Will Smith or something like that. But, there's a difference between a seminar that I went to and an upfront author live, right? Because usually when you watch a speaker talk on YouTube video, you don't feel it, right? You don't feel their voice, their gesture. This has been my experience, that you get to see their movements. It's not like on YouTube. You can't feel it on YouTube, right? Where you can hear the voice, you can see that he's looking directly at you. That's what a speaker's supposed to do, right? I guess that's what you're learning, but he speaks with confidence. He's not the person how he tells his story about how he was homeless and nobody seemed to care, but then, all these things that I've seen over and over, that people who went through the worst care about the human race, because they don't want people to feel that ever again, so they want to impact the world. That's the feeling that I felt. But it's just like, I feel like when I sit in the front, close to the person, I felt the energy, the the touch of the author that speak. If I sit way back, let's say I was in the free seminar or whatnot, I couldn't see the gesture. I couldn't see the voice that being projected. I couldn't see the confidence. But this one I can. I can see the body language, how he can just speak. And so that's been my experience. Thank you.